the ambassador actually ended 1 minute early, so I was timing this carefully.
You missed it by a few pages.
So, I mean, we touched on a large number of topics, and I'm sure there's much food for thought. What I would ask you to do is to raise your hands. I'll try to recognize you, and then we'll take it from there. I would really encourage us to focus on the topic of the seminar, which is kind of broadly defined as kind of nuclear issues, including with respect to strategic stability.
It's not me who imposes such limitations. You see the discussions.
There are occasions when sometimes I have some influence over the discussion. I should say here, just as an aside, I'm just so delighted to have the ambassador visit us in Monterey. And as I look out from this particular vantage point, I recall about 18 months ago when in the seat to the right here we had Deputy Foreign Minister Ripkov, and in the same room we had your old friend and Chief Negotiator Rosgata Mueller, along with Jerry Brown and Bill Perry and many others. So the room has some historical elements as well here. Summer, why don't I give you the floor first? And you might want to identify yourself and then ask the question.
Thank you. My name is Summer Gary. I'm in the dual degree program with Miss and MGMO. And I was wondering, I'm sure you're very familiar with the Senate proposed bill, the INF Preservation Act. And I was wondering what you think the response would be if this bill is fully enacted, and what the consequences to that would be.
I have seen this bill, and of course I'm not speaking. I said that I'm official and I'm diplomat. I can't speak on future possible potential events and what kind of position will be the Russian Federation. Let's wait for a while. Or when we see this bill, and there will be a decision. But what I would like to say, I see very old logic in this bill. The United States is right. We consider that there is a sheet of paper is white. If you don't disagree with us, it means we will introduce sanctions or impose sanctions on you. So, United States would like to be a judge, and there is just only foreign policy of the United States is right, and everybody who disagrees with such position must be punished. So, what we are talking about, whether we need under such circumstances or conditions UN Security Council? Do we need United Nations? The United States made it clear many times that if United States, if United Nations don't obey United States regulations or law, we will follow or we will pursue our own policy. So it's up to your government to decide what kind of international architecture you would like to see. As to the proposals that you have mentioned, first of all, it seems to me that this idea is showing us a way to a situation where we can see just only quarrel or fighting between the United States and the Russian Federation. First, there is a proposal to start research and development. It is not prohibited in accordance with the treaty, but it seems to me that it's a first step for violation of soul of this treaty. And if till now the United States failed to put on the table any proof regarding the violation by the Russian Federation of the provisions of this treaty, But at the same time, we will see this document. Now it's just only draft document where it is mentioned that the United States is planning to start elaboration missile prohibited by this treaty. So for us it's indication that activities to create a new missile violating this treaty is going on. So the United States is making preparatory work to withdraw from the treaty. We consider that it's a mistake. We have offered the United States to sit together and to discuss all issues, mutual concerns, and to find solution on this, but not to make efforts provoking other side to give adequate answer. That's all.
Summer actually is, along with Noah, are the representatives of the Russian Federation in the NPT negotiations. So I'm sure she takes your points to heart here. Noah, did you want to follow up here? You can introduce yourself again for the audience.
I'm Dodi Vanders. Thank you again for being here. And as Dr. Potter mentioned, Summer and I are representing Russian Federation in the simulation. My question is in regards to the ban treaty. All of the representatives, I think, of the P5 when in the simulation are in this room today, and when it came time to discuss the ban treaty in our simulation negotiations, we weren't entirely sure how to approach it, because as you said, there's one approach by the P5, possibly either it's impossible or it's useless. And the other sort of P5 possible response is that it in fact is a threat to the overall non-proliferation architecture. And so we decided as United P5 to go as far in the direction of it's an active threat to the future of the NPT as possible, such that our non-nuclear open states partners would agree on something in the middle. But what do you see Russia's official position being at the 2018 PrepCon on the ban treaty? Closer to useless or closer to active threat?
To give you a short answer, we will be against.
Well, of course.
But I would like to draw your attention to some arguments. Let's look at this document like it is now. And please, let's imagine text of NPT. For what purpose we need a new treaty? If non-nuclear weapon states would like to introduce new limitations for their activities regarding the Article 2 of NPT, we don't understand. You see that we have offered such options during NPT review conference many times. We have offered to introduce more restrictions, more elements to IAA, to create substantial forms of control over the activities of non-nuclear weapon states. It's one part. Another part is elimination of nuclear weapons, and it is pressure on nuclear weapon states. Nuclear weapon states stick to the position of NPT, Article 6. And we can hate this article, but it is still alive, and we have to obey all elements or letters from this article. In Article 6, we are talking not about disarmament, but we are talking about the necessity to start negotiations. Fully, I don't remember exactly, because I did participate in this event more than 10 years, but about complete and general disarmament. So you see that how could I give you a more broader answer? How could I start nuclear disarmament process with United States, even with United States, if you don't want to meet my concerns regarding my security, legitimate security concerns, such as missile defense, such as, you see that the problem of non-deployment of weapons of any type in outer space. You see that I discussed this issue many times with my counterparts from State Department. I said that, do you have any plans? No. Could we make would we put your signature under this treaty, because it will be nothing for you if you have no plans, if you have no intentions, just only put your signature under this treaty. That's all. They said, no, you are very shrewd folks, and we don't want to obey your proposals. I would like to say obey proposals. So we don't want to put any signatures. It's like missile defense. You said that. When I discussed with my American colleagues this issue, I said that, okay, do you need missile defense in 1,000 parts of our planet? They said, come on, we know it. We understand from which direction missile threat will come. Okay, good. Let's put it on the paper. Let's agree that in 1,000 parts of our planet there will be no missile defense. Oh no, we don't want. Why? We are scared. We don't understand you. What you want from us? I said that what I want, I would like to see our planet free from missile defense. That's all. It will be just only one part of decision. The same situation with you, with your question. You said that they would like to see our planet free of nuclear weapons. I am in favor, and my president has confirmed Russian readiness to see planet free of nuclear weapons. But we need some guarantees of security. How can we eliminate nuclear weapons if another country is elaborating strategic offensive forces in non-nuclear configuration? I just would like to remind you that missile defense was not the most serious problem. The most serious problem was strategic offensive arms in non-nuclear configuration, because it was explained by American countries. For example, let's look at this as a missile. They could be missile with new warheads, or warheads, nuclear warheads, it will be deployed warheads. And from another side, there will be warheads with conventional warheads. And for example, if you launch, especially it's better to speak about submarines. From one side there will be missiles with nuclear warheads, and from another side of submarines there will be missiles with the conventional warheads. If there is a launch of missile with conventional warhead, our early warning system will see it as a missile going to the direction of the Russian Federation. We don't know what kind of payload this missile carries. For us, it means attack at the Russian Federation. So what will be answer? The strike from all possible missiles to the direction of the United States. So it's rather difficult to find solution on all of these issues.
We'll return to some of this. I should tell you, in terms of truth in advertising, a week from, well, next Tuesday in this room, we will have Ambassador Elaine White, the president of the ban treaty or the prohibition treaty, here to also meet with the simulation students. So if you have any messages you'd like me to communicate to her directly, I'm pleased to do so.
I don't understand the main thrust of this idea. You said that, for example, if there is no nuclear weapons in the Russian Federation, let's imagine. So it means that armed forces from other countries could be very close to Moscow. We cannot stop them. We have not enough forces, defensive forces. But till they know that there will be retaliation answer, nobody will touch territory of the Russian Federation. I understand that many countries disagree with the substance of NPT, saying that this treaty is unfair. I understand, but treaty is a treaty. It's a pity, or maybe it's advantage, but there is permission just only for 5 nuclear weapon states to possess nuclear weapons. And there is a lot of limitations regarding the possibility to create the 6th state in accordance with the NPT. We will never support it, as I know that United States will never be in favor of such idea. So, if we need total elimination of nuclear weapons, we have to create a lot of conditions. It's not possible, for example, to live today with nuclear weapons and tomorrow without it. I just mentioned you in my remarks how many challenges we face today regarding non-proliferation and regarding nuclear disarmament. So we made it clear to our American counterparts that without finding solutions on all issues that I named or enumerated, it will not be possible to start negotiations tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I don't know. This, the nuclear disarmament is a very complicated question. It's not possible to single out from other problems of strategic stability. And it seems to me that authors of this idea, nuclear zero, I don't know how to call it, they don't understand it. Their logic is clear also. If I have no nuclear weapons, it means that you have no right to possess it as well. I understand this logic, but strategic situation is different.
Okay, I'm really tempted to pursue this because it seems to me that there is the issue of what the position of the United States and Russia and the other P5 members may be with respect to the Prohibition Treaty. And there's a different question, and that is what is likely to be the impact of the treaty on the NPT review process. And I think the answer is not clear at the moment, but
it's clear. It's clear. It's clear, you said it. You said it. We have NPT. What we need, everything in NPT. Article 1, Article 2, Article 6. I miss other articles. You see that. In accordance with Article 1, you see that we are, I don't remember exactly, sorry, but the sense is that we will not supply nuclear weapons with somebody. In accordance with Article 2, you said that non-nuclear weapon states will not acquire with nuclear weapons. That's all. It's excellent. Let's keep this treaty like it is. Let's not touch this treaty. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to ruin something, but it's very difficult to construct something on this base. We have IAEA. You see that we have to strengthen IAEA. For me, it's clear not to permit some countries of concerns. You have in United States such countries. We have such countries in the Russian Federation. And again, there is a message today to everybody. Let's combine our efforts. Let's be together to tackle the issue of non-proliferation. It's very serious efforts. You see that I remember I visited some Middle East countries and spoke to ministers of foreign affairs regarding the situation with the Iranian nuclear program. And they mentioned me, if Iran possesses nuclear weapons, our country, I don't want to name it, this country, will be the next. Today, if you look at the map, you will see some of them who are ready to possess nuclear weapons. And please, don't forget about Japan, Germany, who have excellent technology and for whom it will be very easy to elaborate nuclear weapons. So that's why we need to keep NPT alive. If you need something more, but those guys who would like to see that treaty, let's look at their demand, what they want. Because ideas regarding the nuclear zero were distributed many years ago. You see that. I remember New Agenda Coalition. I remember non-aligned movement proposals regarding the nuclear zero. But it's unreal. It's unreal. Please look at the situation in the Middle East. Some countries are not members of chemical weapon conventions. Some countries are not members of NPT. Everybody is scared if we eliminate, for example, chemical weapons, we will be not defended. So tomorrow that country who possesses nuclear weapons could attack us. And there is no retaliation action could be made.
But just to make this a little bit interesting, and then I'll call on Sarah
Do you think
and
that it's
Tracy.
not interesting what I have just mentioned?
It's very interesting. I just don't want to appear to be giving into every argument that you're making. I recall, I was in Moscow along with a number of folks here for a large conference that Mr. Klopov organized. And at that conference, I was actually on a panel, I think, with your colleague, Mr. Ulyanov, who was quoted in a Kommersant article to the effect that the ban treaty could have been much worse. And I believe that Mr. Berdenikov, who also was at this conference, circulated a paper in which he said that, well, certainly Russia did not support the treaty, the ban treaty, that they could probably live with some reference to it, you know, in the recommendations in the PrepCom. And so I think there's a distinction to be made between.
They are very flexible negotiators.
I'm sure. That's what all of the Americans say about you. A very flexible negotiator. Okay, I'm not going to continue my commentary. Sarah and then Tracy, would you like to introduce yourselves? Two other Russian speakers, but who will speak in English here.
Ambassador, thank you so much for coming today. Your remarks have been very interesting. I noticed that you touched upon the CTBT, and that's a topic that I've heard a number of Russian officials reference recently, both at the conference in Moscow that Dr. Potter referenced and at a CTBT youth group conference that was there as well. It's my understanding that Russian officials place particular importance on U.S. ratification as sort of the first step towards the entry into force of the CTBT. And in that respect, I'm wondering whether you see any opportunities for U.S.-Russia cooperation in that space. Obviously, that's predicated on the United States being interested in advancing that issue, but
Could I answer you in kidding mode? Do you need any assistance to ratify CTBT? What kind of cooperation you are talking about? You said that regarding this treaty.
Sure.
We have ratified. I am very much proud. I remember the NPT review conference 2010. I took my tennis racket, saying myself that it's high time for me to play tennis during NPT review conference because it's United States who will be in defensive position regarding this issue. So, but I failed. You said I failed. I was attacked on tactical nuclear weapons from various forces, including the United States. So again, you said it's CTBT. It's very, and I'm a little concerned by your words. You said that you are in the Russian Federation are concerned and so on. What's about the United States? What's about the position of NGO regarding CTBT? Do you think that it is important for your country to be a member of this treaty? Or there is no consensus among NGO, among some politicians regarding the necessity of CTBT to be enforced? For us it's very important. You see that China is looking at you. Chinese officials made it clear many times 10 years ago, as far as we see that the United States can join CTBT, we will make some steps forward. I don't know about the position of India and Pakistan. It's more complicated, especially, and of course I don't speak about Israel. But there will be more opportunity for us to press on Iran, for example, as well. Why we would like Iran ratifies CTBT if the United States is reluctant to do the same? So how could we press on other countries on behalf of depository states, on behalf of NPT states, if two permanent members of security councils, nuclear powers, are not ready to ratify it? And it will be one of the questions to Mr. Ford, who will be Assistant Secretary. I wish him good luck, responsible for this issue. And I would like to understand whether we can see any prospect. By the way, don't forget that I mentioned in my remarks regarding nuclear disarmament, without a clear picture on this issue, we can't go forward regarding the nuclear disarmament. So you see that it's not a constructive ambiguity regarding the position of the United States on this issue. What I see just only not readiness of the United States to ratify this treaty. It will be a disaster for NPT as a whole.
Yeah, I think most of us can concur with that assessment here. I mean, I have to restrain myself from interjecting my own views here. But I'm going to
During lunch.
During lunch, that's right. Tracy, would you like to identify yourself and ask a question?
Sure. Hi, Ambassador. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Tracy Lyon. I'm studying non-proliferation and terrorism studies here. I'm also studying Russian language. My question is in regards to the nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs of DPRK. As you've mentioned in your statement, the Russian Federation has often called for a de-escalation of the situation and has called for dialogue. And my question is, if a dialogue were to be reached, if it were possible between the United States and the DPRK, what type of role do you see the Russian Federation playing? And also more specifically, what would be, from the perspective of the Russian Federation, some concrete and practical goals with which to attempt to reach in these sort of discussions, particularly ones that the DPRK would be open to engaging with? Thank you.
Please don't forget that before we can see the United States and North Korean negotiators at the table, they have to be persuaded to do it. And everybody would like to see us as a mediator. It's a role of the Russian Federation. Then you see that it seems to me that till now officials from your administration have not yet decided what kind of policy they need towards North Korea. I met with many officials from State Department trying to understand what they want and what about their plans. I don't want to make any reference to specific senior officials, but I would like to send you a message. I got the information that United States was not planning to start new joint exercises with South Korea and Japan till the end of this year. This message I got in September. Now we can see joint exercises between the United States, South Korea and Japan are underway. Such exercises we have noticed in October, in November. We don't know what will be in December. So there is no possibility to start such negotiations when you are under the pressure. And North Korean officials have mentioned that what we want, we would like United States to review its policy towards us, and as a first step to decrease tension on Korean Peninsula. What does it mean? It means at least freezing all exercises. There were some promises from United States not to start new exercises till March next year. So there will be a window of opportunities to sit at the table, starting discussion about maybe discussions, or to start negotiations about negotiations. At least it will be direct talks between the United States and North Korea. But you see that we can't help the United States, we can't help the North Korea to start such a dialogue. I consider that it's very important because North Korea does not want to discuss this issue with South Korea, because they consider that South Korean government is a puppet ruled by the Washington. That's all.
We have at least two Russian students who are in the dual degree program who I see in the seminar room, who are both also involved in our arms control NPT negotiations, one representing the United States, the other representing Iran. Our Russian-Iranian delegate even has mastered an Iranian accent, which I think he acquired from Ambassador Sultaneh. Advan, if you want to ask a question, you can do this in whatever accent you wish.
May I say ladies first and be second?
Would you, Dare, would you like to?
Thank you.
Yes, sounds like.
If you can identify yourself.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Darius Wisnova, and I'm a member of the dual degree program. I have a question regarding nuclear sharing, because this is the question
It was my first article.
that I've been doing research on, and I would like to ask you if you consider that there is a direct violation of the treaty by the United States if the deployment of U.S. nuclear weapons on the territory of NATO member states is a direct violation of the letter of the NPT. I'd like to see your perspective on this question.
There is an official answer to your question, and there are some of my remarks in this regard. Of course, we consider it's a violation. Our NATO colleagues tried to persuade us that there was a previous agreement between the Soviet Union and other countries who initiated NPT. But it seems to me it's like with Germany. It's a lot of rumors now. What was the agreement between Mr. Gorbachev and Western leaders? Whether there was an agreement that Germany will not be the NATO participant and other Eastern European countries will not be members of NATO. So there is nothing on the paper. We don't know about any documents. And our conversation, you say that is not possible to use as a proof for an official position of one country or another one. So that's why we consider that nuclear sharing is a violation of the soil and the letter of NPT. And moreover, we have proofs. You know that there is a lot of dual-use aircraft, and it is stipulated in NATO norms that during the war, for example, pilots of Germany or Dutch pilots can carry this aircraft with the nuclear weapons. And I consider that if you look again at Article 2 of NPT, you will see direct violation of this treaty.
Now we're going to have to redraft the recommendations, I think, in our simulation based upon your response. We thank you, Gary. We have time for just a short question and brief
Thank
response.
you. My name is Adnan Margoyev. I'm part of the dual degree program and member of the Peer Center. My question is, do you consider non-proliferation, arms control, and strategic stability is an exclusive domain for only official negotiations between Russia and the United States? Or there could be some other players and actors who could help promote the development of the situation to redress the current issues that we have in bilateral relations? What kind of help would you expect from those kind of players? Or we have to just wait until the US officials would be able and not reluctant to speak to Russian officials? If I remember correctly, Congress declines all of your requests to meet congressmen and to talk through many of those.
They're scared to meet me. They are scared to be fired immediately after meeting with me.
Yeah, so
You are very brave, you said it.
This is the sovereign state of California.
I respect your rules and your laws. You said that I just tried to find it, but I failed. You said that there was a special chapter on your question, and so I just wanted to present it to you. But I would like to say that it's very important what you are doing now. You are trying to, you said that there was just only one opportunity for me to visit one NGO meeting in Washington. I got a lot of, at least you said that it's a lot of ideas I got from my colleagues whose position is not bound by some restrictions from their governments. You said that I have prepared a lot of cables to Moscow, how we could find outcome from difficult problems. And now I'm thinking about INF. Because it's impossible just only to blame each other. It's necessary to find a constructive solution on this issue. But if I succeed before this law that could be introduced very soon, it's possible to find anything. But if we can see any law with sanctions against the Russian Federation, it will be impossible. But frankly, you said that I need, as to me, as to bureaucrat, I need your papers, I need your exercises, I need your reports, I need your books, because I get a lot of interesting idea from them. With some of them I disagree, some of them I support. For some of your ideas it's not yet time to start negotiating. I keep them for the future. And the same situation with this bank treaty. This issue is not ripe for negotiation. But idea is excellent.
I've been pitching ideas for 25 years and continue to do so. Ambassador Antonov, it really was a great privilege to host you here this afternoon. We see this as the first of many opportunities during your tenure as ambassador to Washington. There are many more questions and also many more students and staff who would like to meet with you. We won't have opportunity at this time because we're already a little bit over schedule, but I would like to ask my colleagues in the room here to also join me in expressing their appreciation for your